And we do this again. Welcome back. Today, cat, move. I'm trying to get my legs in here and I'm kicking him in the head. Anyways, so we're back because the last video that I made was talking about the Dodge Magnum v10 that was produced from, what was it, 94 to 2003 or something like that. Right around in there, and was, used in the pickups. And I pointed out how the Magnum v10 and the Viper v10 are different, but I didn't really go into detail about that. And there were still some people that were a little confused, and it's like, so it's the same thing? You imbecile. No, they're not. And here's why. So today we're going to be going into the differences between the Magnum v10 and the Viper v10, and how similar they are, but yet they're differences. So let's get right into it. Sorry if you can hear that fan in the background, my heater just kicked on. Anyways, in the last video, I was talking about how, I was talking about the V10, the Magnum V10, and I, pointed out the differences. We already talked about where it came from and how it was based off the Chrysler LA engines, or the Magnum engines, and it was basically just a 360 with 2 extra cylinders. So again, we went into that and pointed out the differences. And this time we're going to be talking about the Viper and how the Viper is different from the Magnum. Now, the Magnum V10, as I said earlier, only made 300 horsepower and about 450 foot-pounds of torque, just pretty solid. But the Viper V10 makes a lot more horsepower. The Viper V10, the first generation of it, made 400 horsepower at the wheels. Well, brake horsepower, which is impressive. It made 465 foot-pounds of torque at 3,600 RPM. So clearly we're seeing, some similarities but differences here. The Magnum V10 made much less horsepower but made about the same amount of torque compared to the Viper V10, which makes more horsepower but about the same amount of torque as the Magnum. Now, why is that? Why are they so similar? Before we get into that, let's get into the history of the Viper V10, so that way we know the differences between that and the history of the Magnum V10. The first generation Viper V10 was originally co-produced by Lamborghini, which was then owned by the Chrysler Corporation. They helped design the V10 for the Viper. So they helped design some of the block and the heads. Pretty much, they designed the engine for the Viper. So that's clearly, kind of the difference here. It also is based off of the Chrysler LA engine platform. So the block is almost the exact same to the Magnum V10, but it's completely aluminum. So it's a lot lighter. It's just flows better for coolant and all that stuff. And so yeah, they made it to be a lot lighter, but it is based off the same platform. So the block is the exact same almost, if not the exact same. But as we move into the heads again were designed by Lamborghini to be a high-performance head, also an aluminum head. So with it being aluminum, it is much, much lighter compared to the all cast iron the Magnum V10 is. The Magnum V10 is all cast iron, which is very, very heavy. I can't remember how much it is. Let's look at this together real quick. Okay, so just the engine block of the Magnum V10 weighs 242 pounds. The crankshaft alone weighs 80 pounds. And the heads weigh another 80 pounds. That's not counting your valves, your cam, your pistons, your rods, everything else, which are, again, all cast and very heavy. So, basically, it weighs a lot. Clearly. And the Viper V10 is very bright. The Viper V10 only weighs about 712 pounds, which is similar, but, different, clearly. What are you doing, dude? You've got smoke. What are you doing, dude? I'm gonna put you down. He doesn't like to be held. But, so, like I was saying, The Magnum V10, very, very heavy compared to the Viper V10. So there's your first set of differences. It's all cast, and the Viper V10 was made by, well, designed by Lamborghini. The Magnum V10 was not. It was designed by Chrysler. So, with that being said, the Magnum V10, much heavier. We already got that through. It does not rev. It doesn't rev as high. It doesn't make as much horsepower. It makes about the same amount of torque. So, what are the differences? Well, your cam, which is a huge thing. A lot of trucks do this. People, say with the Vortex, it's basically an LS. Yes, but it has a less cam in it. So it's, less. It's not making as much power because of that cam. And then with the less flowing heads, there's a lot that contributes into it. However, the stroke and the bore are the exact same. They're the same blocks, just lighter, like I was saying before. But with the cams, with the Viper cam, it has a better cam. The exhaust duration is 288.5, and the intake is 292.5. And then the Magnum's cam is the exhaust of 265 and an intake of 246. So quite a big difference between the cams. So that means your valves aren't opening as much. You're not letting in as much air and as much fuel. They are both EFI, so, there's that. But it's just, a lot less cam compared to the Viper. And heavier, less flowing, not designed by Lamborghini. Fucking gay. Just kidding. But, still. It stands that there are differences. Clearly. One is completely alloy, very lightweight, different heads, different cam. One is completely cast iron and is a truck engine. So it is different. Now you've got the SRT 10s, which came with the Viper V10, not the Magnum V10. So it is a completely different engine that came in those two. It's not just an upgraded Magnum. It is the Viper engine being shoved into a Ram 1500. And yes, I know they exist, but you know how hard those are to get? Very hard. They're not very common. And, the whole point of what I made, or the point that I made last video, was that it would be cool to take a 1500 and throw the V10 into the 1500 with the manual and throw that around on a track. You're not going to be doing that with an SRT 10. You're just not going to be going there to beat the shit out of it. And yeah, it's cool to have the Viper V10, but to swap a whole new engine into a 1500 and it not be the SRT 10 is also just a really cool novelty in its own way. And so that's what I was saying. Some guy commented on there and said, clearly he's never heard of the SRT 10. I said, yeah, I have. They're different. It's not the same. It would be cool to swap that in there and just beat the shit out of it and not worry about damaging it. Be like, fuck, now I can't find another SRT 10 bumper or whatever, So that's why I was saying it would just be cool to do that. So, to wrap this all up, in the end, this video is quite a bit shorter than usual, but that's okay. I just wanted to get this out and describe the differences between the two. The engines are very similar, but the Viper has a more performance aim compared to the Magnum. So it's lighter, better flowing, better cam. It's produced to make more horsepower. It is produced to be a race car engine. The Magnum V10 was aimed to be a torquey and strong truck engine meant for pulling stuff, not for performance and horsepower and speed like the Viper V10. So there you go. There's the differences between the Magnum V10 and the Viper V10. So now we all know, and we are all a little bit smarter compared to 10 minutes ago. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed. And I'm sorry, Smokey has been sitting next to me, and he doesn't really want to make a whole lot of an appearance, I guess. Here, I'll move you guys in. What are you doing, Smoke? He's licking himself. He's being cute, though. But There we go. So, like I said, that's all I've got for you guys today. Again, if there's anything else you guys want me to go over and break down, let me know in the comments below, and I will be sure to look into it. So, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.